This was not supposed to happen today, but it is. So let's get to it. Hi there, it's Hélène and welcome back, or if it's your first time, welcome to HMM Makeup or Makeup. And yes, we are going to do something that is very rare on this channel, which is to review a very, very new palette. This palette has only been out for a little bit. It is the Wild West palette from Urban Decay, the newest Naked palette in the Urban Decay line. And there was a 30% off opportunity at Shoppers. I was by a Shoppers and I just decided to pick it up because I have a weakness. So I like Naked palettes to begin with, but I have a weakness for animal print, specifically leopard print and reptilian print. It got me in one of my weaknesses. And I'm not usually super big on the types of green that are in this palette, but I did have a chance to take a look at it in store, and the colors are very pretty. In my opinion, untouched, they are prettier than I expected based on the images that I've seen of this palette online. So I thought we could swatch it today and see what happens. Now, I had no intention of filming today. None whatsoever. Otherwise, I would have had a bare face and we could have used this right away. But at least I can offer some swatches today. So let me open this box and let's take a look at the palette inside. Okay, so here we go. Now, just on the outside, you'll see is it upside down? You'll see the outside packaging is very pretty, and then on the back, you see all the shadows, and you can also see the brush that is included with the palette. I won't read the whole big paragraph on the back. The one thing that I did notice though is it is 100% vegan palette, which they seem to be very proud of. And this is the official palette, pardon the ring light, there we go. Very reflective, and the inside, the secondary layer of the palette, the top of the palette is clear plastic, but then there's an inlay of kind of metallic imprint. And they did a really great job with the ultraviolet, and I just was pretty sure that they would do a great job with this one, and they did. It is absolutely beautiful, really well done, and it looks like the Wild West, it looks like there's some wear to the letters, but that looks like it's absolutely intentional, kind of like distressed wood, that kind of thing. I'm very impressed with the packaging that Urban Decay is doing these days. They are doing a really good job. The palette itself is magnetized. There is a mirror. And is the mirror covered with plastic? Looks like it's got something on it. Yes, it does. So I'm just taking the plastic off right here. It did have a plastic cover, but the edges of the plastic cover are extremely subtle, so it's really hard to see. But yes, the mirror is very clear and beautiful. And then we have the brush, which is a clear brush with, looks like kind of brushed, not copper, but brushed kind of a beigey metallic on each end. And I don't mind the Urban Decay brushes at all. I think they are fine. They usually have a fluffy side and a more precise side. It's the typical brush, and it has the word Naked on the middle, or in the middle. Okay, now let's take a look at the shadows. And again, I realize that it won't look exactly as it would in person. I can guarantee you they look different on camera. But I can tell you right away, these two pop a whole lot more than I thought they would. A whole lot more. And this one I think is going to be really nice to pair with Invasion, that relatively new matte pencil that I have from Urban Decay, so I'm looking forward to that. A couple of known colors, but overall not bad at all. I'm kind of curious for some combinations. I think that Cowboy Rick, Laredo, and whatever this one is, Pony Up. I think though that would be a very beautiful combination. Yeah, that is just terrific. And then when I take a look at the rest, I would say half the palette is typical Urban Decay and half the palette is colors that I'm kind of going, I don't think I have that in my collection. So I don't have these two, I don't think. I definitely don't have this one. I didn't have the Beached palette, which this one is reminiscent of, so a lot of the colors I don't have. I do think that this metallic gold is going to be interesting to compare to the Naked Honey. And I would argue that these two here and then these over here are basic Naked palette colors, and that there's nothing super amazing about them. They just look like typical colors that I would expect to see in the palettes. Okay, so I'm going to start swatching. There are usually 14 shadows, so let's see here. 4, 12, oh, it's 12. Pardon me, isn't there usually 14? I'm thinking 14 because of Anastasia. Okay, 12 shadows, and let's stop talking and let's start swatching. I'm going to be using this hand and this forearm to deliver all 12 shadows for you. I'm going to double swatch everything, and I'm going to zip it and start swatching. Now I think that the first one, Standoff, is really not going to show up very much on my skin tone, but let's see what happens. So Standoff, yeah, it's very much my skin tone. Next one is Spur. That's a pretty color, I'm going to enjoy that one. And then Nudie is the third. Okay, so nice, very approachable colors to begin with. Very much nude colors. A staple for makeup looks, but nothing that is very exciting, obviously. So here we go again. So we had Standoff, Spur, and Nudie. Let's just call that kind of an appetizer. Nothing much to talk about, but comforting that they are in the palette. Okay, we have the double swatch of those. Now we're going to go into these three: Hold'em, Cowboy Rick, and Laredo. So we're going to be swatching these three. And so those first two are those metallics that I was kind of excited about. Of course, Hold'em to be compared with the Naked Honey, and Cowboy Rick. I don't think there's anything quite like Cowboy Rick in any of the other Naked palettes. I could be wrong. The one I would definitely check is the Smoky palette, I think. Okay, so first off we've got Hold'em, which is that gold. And then we have Cowboy Rick, which I'm really excited about. It looks like a nice, cool color. Makes me think of the Sultry palette from ABH. And then this one is Laredo. And I think Laredo is going to build up quite nicely. So let's take a look at the fingers, and I'm going to dig right back into, well, not dig, dive, right back into those three shadows. Let's see how the metallics build up. Okay, so here we go. Got Hold'em, Cowboy Rick, and Laredo. I think it's funny how they put those two together. It's like, of course those go together. They didn't need to be side by side. Very nice. I don't mind the metallics whatsoever. And the gold seems to have quite a peach tone to it. So kind of a fiery gold. I think it's a neat color. I'm hoping it comes through on camera. The viewfinder doesn't seem to be as exciting. See, I like the metallics. I'm showing you the the fingers twice. Actually, I guess 3 times, because you had the first pass and the second pass. I just gave you an extra peek at them, I guess. Okay, I wiped off my fingers and we are into the 789. And so now we're getting into some of the greens. So we've got Bud, Rustler, and Ghost Town. Bud, Rustler, and Ghost Town. All right, so let's see what that minty turquoise looks like. Okay, looks promising. Okay, let's see. Rustler, that one makes me think of another one of the Urban Decay shadows, big time. And then we have a matte in Ghost Town. A very rusty matte. I'm not huge on rusty mattes, but you know, with a teal color, it might look really, really nice. Okay, so we are starting off with Bud. And there's a lot of shine to Bud. And then we have Rustler. Oh, I love these. This one makes me think of the Sultry for sure. Not the steampunk color, but there's a very, very similar color. This is very buttery. Look at that. Very buttery. Okay, so let's take a look at the last one, which is that rusty matte. Ghost Town. Okay, so that is the first pass of those. Gosh, Rustler, holy cow, that is a pretty color. Nice. Okay, let's see how that teal builds up because it's, well, I think it's going to look okay. But those two side by side, whoo! Okay, second go of these. Yeah, that is nice. This one really doesn't need it, but let's swatch it again, just for good measure. And then the Ghost Town. So Bud, Rustler, and Ghost Town are the three that we have just swatched. The metallics are really stealing the show. Seriously. Wow. There's really quite a bit of peachy pink in this one as I look at it. So there's a chance for some softer looks. Wow. That is some color. Okay, we have 3 more to go. And I mean, if you watch this channel, you know that I am not huge on neutrals. But this one, so far, everything seems to work together. I am hopeful for what it is that I can create with this palette. Now we have, I think Whiskey is a color that I recognize. So we've got Whiskey, Tex, and Pony Up. So these are the last 3, all mattes. And Tex is either I'm going to love it or I'm going to hate it. And I really don't know which one it's going to be. Deep breath. Okay, let's get into it. Whiskey, yeah, I think Whiskey's a duplicate from another palette. It just feels like I know this color. Tex, I do not have anything like it from Urban Decay. These two together look really good. And then Pony Up. All right, let's do the first set of those swatches. So we have Whiskey. That is a nice, rich brown. Not too warm. I think that folks who like cool browns and folks who like warm browns might both agree on this one. Now we've got Tex. Oh, for a matte, one swipe. One swipe. That does not happen very often with mattes. I am really impressed with this one. Very nice. And then we've got Pony Up. Okay, all 3 of these mattes are doing a wonderful job. I am really happy with those. Okay, let's do a second pass. And I'm sure they are going to just be perfect on the second pass because they performed so well on the first go. Mattes are not that creamy normally. They do not tend to swatch. There's always patchiness with mattes on the first go. And these were pretty solid. Look at that teal. I am really impressed. And when I saw first time, right, the vegan formula and whatnot, when you have a big change in formulation, that makes me nervous. Because to me, it's like, okay, they're dealing with shadows in a way and format they're not used to, but I am feeling very reassured by these swatches. That's interesting because the saturation of these mattes, I would have expected more staining, but there really isn't. So that's interesting. I don't know if that's going to mean anything for longevity, but I thought I would mention it. What do I think? What do I think? I think there's a really nice, simple look to be had with these four. I am definitely partial to these two for a very soft, pretty look. You know that I want to put this one and this one together for sure. And I do want to put this one and this one together. These two have to be a look with something else, but at a minimum these two, possibly these two and this goldy peach color. And there's that beige here. I just don't want anybody to forget that. It's so close to my skin tone. What else? I think this one is going to look really nice in the crease. A little bit on the warm side, but I think that's going to look great in the crease. That one, this one. Shoot, the way these build up, I think that you can go light or you can go intense with them. So I would use any one of those in the crease. This one obviously on the lower lash line is going to look bomb. I wouldn't hesitate to put it in the outer corner and outer crease, but I do think based on how rich it is that it's going to hold its own as a liner, as would these two as well. I don't really see in here colors that clash. Even though there's a reasonable range of color, I really don't see anything that's going to clash with another color, which is great. I have no problem there. I am very excited. I am not going to do a look today, but I will post these swatches as quickly as possible. And then when I don't already have a full face of makeup on, I will do a first impressions at a minimum pretty much right away for you. So yeah, I was on the fence, but I'm really happy I picked up this palette. I really am. Okay, so I thought I'd give you another look at the palette. I did blow off some of the kick up so that you could really see the shadows, and I'm going to go really, really close for anyone who is wanting to get a very, very good idea of what they look like in the pan. Okay, well, you have heard what I am thinking, and I would love to hear what you have to say. Definitely. Do I think that there's duplication among other palettes in the Naked line? Absolutely. Am I concerned about it? No, I do like to just pick up a palette and work with the palette. I'm realizing that that's kind of what I'm after. Unless I go into my singles, then I'm more up for the messiness of picking some singles and putting them together. But when it comes to a naked palette like that, I just like to go into one palette. So I'm fine if they're repeated shades from one palette to the next. If anything, to me, it kind of says that they are loved and that they fit with a bunch of looks. So that's fine by me. Some people are annoyed by that. I'm not really all that fussed about it. And then, of course, I have to say, the look of this palette, I mean, even if I weren't crazy about the swatches, which I'm really happy about the swatches, half of the shadows in here could be duds, and I would still keep that packaging for years. I'm just going to stare at it on a regular basis. I Like I said, animal print. I'm just a sucker for it. I have talked enough. You have seen the swatches. Again, let me know what you think. And I look forward to bringing you a first impressions look. But for now, I will say thank you so much for watching. I appreciate it every single time. And I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Take care.